Hello, welcome everyone. I am so excited to be here with all of you and to share our very special guest that we have today. You are just going to love what we have in store, and I believe most of you know who I am. You either came from the meetup group, Women Leaders Love Your Job or Leave It, or the Facebook group, Lead the Life You Love. My name is Krista Davis. I am a business and executive coach, and I teach aspiring entrepreneurs how to love businesses that they love. But today is not about me, and just to share with you something that, just to kind of give you the context to today's event, is I love supporting other powerhouse women who have so much value to offer to others. And something that I've been prioritizing in our communities is bringing in other qualified, brilliant resources for all of you to learn from and to receive value from. So our guest today is Allison Hamilton-Rohe. She is the founder of The Daily Outfit and is a personal styling coach. And Allison and I, we met at a women's networking event a couple years ago, and I just fell in love with her right away. She was very helpful to me as I was thinking through some things in my business. And as we got together over time, she came and spoke for this other group that I was involved in. And I knew she was awesome, but then she delivered her presentation on the power of personal style. And truthfully, it was the best presentation on personal style I've ever seen. So I asked her if she would come to our group, do a Q&A, talk about some of the work that she does, and she graciously accepted the invitation. So Allison, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to learn from you today. And if you'd like to just share a little bit more about yourself, feel free to go ahead and talk more about why you started The Daily Outfit.
I'm blushing over here. So many nice things you said about me, Krista. Oh my goodness. So thank you. And it's an honor to be here. I'm excited to be here and be in the presence of your energy. I'm sure all of the people who are on the video call today enjoy Krista's energy, especially in these challenging times. It is so nice to have someone who's so enthusiastic and bright and full of joy. And so thank you for that. Yes. So you asked me about my background. I, like many of the women in your group, was thinking about a career change, and I left corporate and decided I wanted to start something new, but I didn't really know what my next step was. So I sent an email out to my friends and family, and I asked them, I know I always tell you not to give me advice, but if you've ever wanted to tell me what to do, now is the time. And amazingly, what came back was what Daily Outfit ended up becoming. So a mixture of real talk, size inclusivity, price inclusivity, and actual actionable examples of kind of how to look and feel better on a daily basis. So I kind of mashed that all up. And this was a little over 10 years ago, when fashion with a capital F was really for rich, white, blonde, skinny women, and no other audiences were being spoken to. So, this idea that style is for everyone was really quite new. And my purpose was to break the paradigm, open up that velvet rope, and invite everyone who wanted to wield the power of style for themselves.
I love that. I love how you have such a strong mission behind what you're doing. It's not just about, and I think this is why we connected, and we were just talking before we got on here, like, a lot of times what we're helping people do, it's not fashion, it's not just building a business, it's something underneath it. And
yes,
this is, you're the perfect person to speak to this community, because we do have a very diverse community. We even have people from not even the United States on the call today. So
I see that. We have E from El Salvador. I love it. Nice to see you.
And you touched just a little bit on your approach, and what I loved about your presentation, and versus what I've seen from other styling workshops is a lot of times it stays very much on the style, but you really bring in positive psychology, you bring in science, you bring in all these different aspects to how you approach personal style. Can you talk just a little bit more about your approach and your philosophy?
Sure. It basically stems from the intuitive knowledge that we already have about the power of the first impression, about how, you know, you can feel differently depending on what you're wearing. I think all of us have had that experience once in a while. The question is, how do we carry it through so that every day we feel the best we can possibly feel? So when I started looking into personal style as a concept, and this was after I had started as a stylist, so I was helping people go shopping, I was going into their homes and helping them review their wardrobes, and I realized that both of those spaces can be very negative, and women carry around a lot of shame around how they look and feel. And so I wanted to figure out a way to focus on the positive and look at personal style as a creative exercise so that my clients and I could co-create a personal style. It wasn't about me having a vision and putting it on them, literally, you know, in clothing, but bringing it, eliciting it from the inside out. And that was when I started looking into positive psychology. I started learning about embodied cognition and these studies you were referring to in terms of, you know, how we can actually prime ourselves to feel better on a daily basis through the power of style.
I love what you said about making it positive, because I come from a very perfectionistic household, and I think even if you don't come from a household like that, just society and what we're told about what's beautiful, and you said this earlier, it is very limited. And I find even with myself, like I can put on the wrong outfit that doesn't fit for my body type and feel like, oh, I look horrible. But when you put on an outfit with the right colors, the right fit, you feel like a totally different person.
Right.
And it almost sounds like it's like pulling out what makes someone unique, like what's great about them, like physically and also within, and then creating a style that complements that.
Yes. So two things that came up for me when you were talking about that. Number one, just to answer that immediate question, when I'm working with clients, I do a values assessment, and I'm sure you do this as well. So thinking about your core values, what's the message that you want to send when someone meets you? How do you really leverage the power of that first impression? Because I don't know if you know this, Krista, but when someone meets you, if they get the correct first impression, it lasts throughout the subsequent impressions that they have of you, whether they're working with you or meeting you again and again, or, you know, they see you once and then they don't see you again for another 2 years. That first impression is so powerful that if you get it wrong, it takes 5 or 6 right first impressions to fix it, which is pretty intense. Like that's a lot of pressure, you know? So what you want is to feel like you're embodying the best of who you are every single time you're meeting with someone new. And of course, now that's on Zoom for all of us. You know, we're not so much meeting in person. But you know, once life goes back to whatever our new normal is going to look like, there will be the opportunity to meet people in person again and do that networking. So that was sort of the first thing, that it's based on your core values and matching up color, pattern, texture, fabrication to those core values so that you're actually wearing your values. And that's kind of how we create the personal style. The other thing that you mentioned in terms of, oh, and now I've lost it. Well, we'll come back to it. Sorry, go ahead.
So what I said about upbringing and feeling like beauty fits into a box?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so talking about perfectionist tendencies, right? What you were saying about how you know that if you put on the right outfit, you feel great. And when you put on the wrong outfit, you're like, ugh, that looks horrible on me. there are so many women out there who, A, take that personally, right? So it's not, that looks horrible on me, but I look horrible in that.
Wow, you're right.
Right? And that's a person-centered statement that shames you. I look horrible in that. And that, I mean, the energy, just when I say that, it's awful, right? And so how many times a day are we doing that to ourselves? And the culture is piling on and doing that to us, showing us all of these different beautiful, perfect body parts, right? And so many women who are on the national stage who look and appear to be perfect. So that's tough. But then there's this other piece of, okay, so you know how to do this for yourself. You know it's the outfit, and you know which outfit is going to make you look and feel better. So you're not taking it personally because you know that it's just, you know, a skill. But there are so many women out there for whom this is not innate. It's not intuitive. And what fashion teaches is that you've either got it or you don't. You know how to do it, and it's supposed to be effortless. Well, let me tell you, it is not effortless. Because even for those women who think and say that it's effortless, most likely they were models. I mean, Anna Wintour was a model before she became editor-in-chief, you know, and worked her way up. Fair. But still, she learned things on set and how to walk, how to do her makeup, how to, you know, dress herself. She learned things in that job so that now she's created her own personal style. You know, we all know it's the blunt bangs and the big glasses and the fitted dresses, you know, that's what she does. But she created that over time. And not everyone knows how to do that. So that's what I teach.
I love it. And because there's so much depth to this, really, like, and because I think sometimes, as you're saying, the way fashion's been taught to us, it can be, anything in life can be very shallow.
Yes.
Or you can be bringing your whole self. It can be authentic and have depth to it when you're coming at it from a way of aligning your core values. And one thing that came up to me when you talked about the effortlessness, it reminds me of, even I find with women, it's like we're supposed to look perfect, but it's supposed to be how we wake up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like you get shamed if you look like a slob, but then if you have all your makeup done, it's like, oh, you're wearing so much makeup. There's no winning. So I love what you're saying,
right,
that it's okay if it's not effortless for you to pick out the right outfit and knowing what to look good.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when you learn how to do it as a skill, it can become easy. Yep. So you know, when I teach it, my clients are learning it alongside creating their personal style. So at the end of the program, they have the outfits to match. They've got a style map. They can put it in their closet. And then when they get up in the morning, they don't have to do all of that work. It can take 5 minutes to get dressed. You know, I've got outfits in my closet that are assembled and ready to go. And I know exactly, okay, so I knew, for example, today, oh, you know, it's overcast. I'm not going to wear what I was planning to wear. I'm going to wear a jacket for the first time, you know, since the summer started. And I know exactly what that outfit looks like. So no big deal.
And so many good things. First, I want to ask more about how you create a personal style, but also something that I think you're talking about is, especially for someone who's a businesswoman. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm actually cleaning out my closet right now. I have gone through, like, what's the perfect outfit for this event, and wasted so much time. And it sounds like what you help your clients do, you help your clients learn it. So it takes out that decision fatigue. Like, correct. It sounds like they have the right pieces in their wardrobe. They know, I pull this, I'm good to go.
Yes, because what you do is you put in a little bit of work on the front end, creating those outfits. So you only purchase in outfits. Yes. You know, so that never again do you have those orphan pieces that are sitting in your wardrobe with nothing. They have no friends. It's very sad.
Yes. And I know everyone listening, I mean, yeah, someone just said LOL. We all have those orphan pieces that we're like, why do I still own this? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, and so either you go out and you find them some friends to play with, or you say, you know what, I love you, but I got nothing for you. So go find some other friends to play with, and you get that thread up bag and you send it off, or you give it, to someone who can use it.
I love that. And you've started talking about this, but tell us a little bit more. How does one go from not having a personal style, having all the orphan pieces? How do you create a personal style?
So it's interesting because when I started thinking about this, I looked for a book or a process to follow with my clients, and I couldn't find anything. So I had to create it on my own. And I used design thinking to do it. Are you familiar with that, Krista?
Design thinking. Yes. I know, I'm not connecting the word with the concept, but I've heard of it.
Right. So basically, it's a product design process, and if anyone who's in the Zoom has heard of it, just you can type yes. You get out, you gather as much data as you can, and then you whittle away at the data until you figure out what it is that the product you want to create, and then from that curated data, you look at what your possible prototypes are. And then from those prototypes, once you figure out what those are the things that you try to iterate or create. So the way we do that with personal style is we gather all of the data. What flatters you? What are your colors? What's your body type? What are the kind of necklines you want to wear? What kind of earrings can you wear? Your glasses, everything. All of that is just data. It's data that comes from your skin type, your hair color, your eye color, and how your body is put together. And that's the kind of stuff that we can just I can look at a picture of you, I can figure it out and do a reading for you and tell you, okay, you know what? You really need to not wear belts anymore, or you need to, go with things that are lower contrast because the contrast between your skin and your hair is low. And so you want to mirror that in your outfits. All of it is data. So then once we get the data, then we do the core values assessment. That's also data. We figure out what your colors are because colors have meaning, right? So black is intense and competitive and business, but it's also artistic and, it has lots of different connotations. And this is all in Western culture, right? So different meanings for other cultures, but I mainly work in Western culture, so that's kind of the color meanings that I use. And then once you've got your color story, you look at your style language, how can we use pattern? How can we use fabrication? How can we use cut? All of that is the data gathering. And then we curate. So we figure out, okay, you may have this color palette, but you don't love the color yellow. That's okay. You don't ever have to wear yellow just because it's your color. You may really resonate with the color green and you want to grow. So we're going to use that color. And then we're going to look for outfits in that color that match your body type, that match your I'm losing my words, your color ratio, in terms of the intensity for the pairings. And we're going to make all of that really, really simple using Pinterest, so that it's very, very clear, what your personal style is. So it's basically like peeling away an onion, until you get to the core, or maybe artichoke is a better metaphor.
I love the holistic process that you take. So it's the physical elements, but it's also the internal elements, like you mentioned, the values assessment, and also like just because a color that looks good on you is yellow doesn't mean you have to wear yellow. So it's a very holistic approach.
Yes. Yeah.
And how would you say, so the group of women that are on today that I work with in our audience here are professional women. They're thinking about their career goals, business goals, building their personal brands. How does a personal style help one with cultivating a memorable personal brand? And you talked a little bit about this earlier, but would love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's really about that power of the first impression and taking control of the message that you're sending. So we have conversations with ourselves, right, in the mirror in the morning. And we also have unspoken conversation with the people that we're interacting with in terms of the way that we show up. So, from the way that I've shown up today, I did my hair, I've got my jacket on, you've got these great earrings on. There are elements that can be not only a conversation starter, but a description or a subtle, unconscious way to read a person that informs not only the way you are feeling yourself in your body, but also how people perceive you. So it's all about using the right colors, about using the right fabrications, about using the right accessories, but also feeling that and embodying it in the moment. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. That statistic, the power of the first impression that you shared earlier about how we can take 5 or 6 more times to get over, to not get over, but to alter someone's first perception of you. That's right. A lot of work.
It is.
Right? And thinking about if you're someone who has a business, a brand, a mission, and you, even with having a business, even though your business is not you, a lot of times, like your brand and your business's brand very much overlap, just like with your career. So
100%.
Being able to show up consistently, to me, I see that as and it can help you not only land jobs, it can help you secure the right opportunities, the right clients. So there is such a strong connection there between how we're showing up and the results that we're creating.
Absolutely. I think for me, personal style and personal brand are almost synonymous. Because the way you're showing up digitally is very visual, right? So if you think about your Instagram feed, if you've thought about your personal style, you're likely going to be gravitating towards those colors that you want to use in not only the way you dress, but also in the way that you convey yourself, visually with your brand. And when you're showing up to meet with people, even if you're just on the phone and they can't see you, there is an energy that is transmitted that has to do with how you feel, which is why, especially now when so many of us who are lucky enough to be able to work from home are, stuck in our houses, and we're not necessarily able to interact live, it is so important to get up and get dressed and put something on that makes you look and feel good. Even if you're just on the phone and you're not ever seeing anyone, it's going to convey with how you hold yourself, with how you speak. I mean, you can't see my heels, but I know that they're kick-ass, and they help me feel differently.
I couldn't agree more. And what would you say are maybe some of the pitfalls in this area? Things that maybe people aren't aware that they're doing, but that we tend to do, and how we can maybe become more aware of them and things we can do to shift those.
Yeah. It's interesting because I really try and stay in the realm of the positive, and I try, I don't ever do, a before and after for my clients on any of my, on my website or my program pages. You won't see a before and after because I feel that's very shaming. And I think that's one of the things that we need to shift for women, because most women do carry around a lot of shame around how they look. And I don't want that. But at the same time, I think the biggest thing that I would say is observe how you are talking about yourself and the way you show up physically, right? So there's this phrase, I can't remember who said it, but your thoughts are your deeds are who you are, right? Is that Gandhi?
I'm really bad at remembering who says what.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember who it is, but it's something like that. And so when you talk about yourself in a way that is negative, your physical self, or the way that you look, or you think about yourself that way, that is an energy dampener. And so when if all anyone takes away from today is to observe what it is that you are saying about yourself and start focusing on the things that you love about yourself, your physical being or your personality, that's going to already make such a huge shift. And I think especially right now, anything that we can do to feel better is so important. Because these are extremely challenging times for many, many reasons.
I love that. I got like chills when you were saying that. Even like a little tears coming up. I want to create like a little video clip of that. I think what you just said, remembering that every single day about what are you thinking about yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Because it does make a difference in how you're showing up. And also just taking out how you're showing up, like just how you feel about yourself. You deserve to feel good about yourself.
Yep.
And
yep.
monitoring that.
And I understand that our culture in so many ways, depending on, what your identity is, our culture has so many ways of trying to shut you down. I'm not trying to dismiss that. I'm not trying to say that this is all your fault. Like, I'm not trying to add to the shame. What I want to do is say that you can observe that and take control of that small piece. And there are many ways to do it. Meditation is one, but getting dressed is also one of those ways, and you have to do it every day. So why not do it in a way that's empowering?
Absolutely.
And then I go out and I think, what would the world be like if all of the women who are currently experiencing that kind of shame were able to flip it and start to feel empowered? Oh my goodness. Think about that, right? Like, imagine what would the world feel like if the way you feel every day in your power outfit is the way you feel every day in whatever outfit. That's my vision.
Just to let that sit for a second. Beautiful. And I think this is a great time to turn it over for questions.
Sure.
If there's anything else that you want to add, Allison, that you think I may have missed, if not, I'll turn it over to the audience for Q&A.
No, I don't think so. I would love to hear what questions people have, and feel free to ask me. There are no silly or dumb questions, like whatever's on your mind in terms of personal style. I'm just looking in the chat, and Rachel says, I was thrilled when I learned from Allison I could pull off culottes. She's so wise and knows what flatters. Thank you, Rachel. And I think, there's a lot of unease around, is this okay? Is this okay? And I think that's one of the things that I can help alleviate for people that I work with, is this feeling that, like, you can wear this isn't so great, and here's why. So I think for a lot of women who are really smart and capable, they want to know the why. And fashion with a capital F is just like, oh no, you can't do that. It's like, no, I need to know why. And it's all of it is explainable.
It's figure outable. It's not. It's like I love you say fashion with a capital F. It feels very, as you said earlier, like it's exclusive, like it excludes
Correct.
people. When really, yes, this is something that's inclusive and everyone can learn.
Yeah.
And for those of you who have questions, you can type them in a chat, but we also love to hear your voice and if you want to show your face. So feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to ask your question directly, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
It's funny, you know, sometimes I find that when I talk about this, because my perspective is so different from most people who work in this field, it takes a minute to kind of take it in and formulate the question, you know? So it's also okay if you can't quite figure out what your questions are right now. And I want to just put in the chat box, I think I have it. I have a free call that you can book, and I'm just going to put that URL in the chat. Okay, so Jessica says, I joined late, so I might have missed this, but do you have tips for how to dress your best when working from home and finding that mix between style and comfort? Jessica, yes, absolutely. So this is interesting because this is actually what I plan to focus on like this entire fall. And in figuring out this new normal, I really think that we have an opportunity to get out of discomfort and, you know, feeling suited up and with our stilettos on and all of that armor that we needed to go to the office. You know, when you're working from home, you don't need to armor up, and what you actually want is to feel comfortable. So, you know, what a lot of people did is they went to their exercise clothes. And I understand that. I think for a lot of people, men and women together, and all genders in between, you know, working from home, there's lack of boundaries. You want to make sure that you get that workout in. You know, maybe you're going to go out on lunch to take your walk, or you know that if you're not dressed in your workout clothes, you're not going to get that workout in at all. What I would invite you to do is set your workout clothes out on your bed in the morning and give yourself permission to get properly dressed. And when I say properly dressed, it can be like I'm wearing right now, a jacket and a t-shirt and jeans. You know, that's comfortable for me. It can be a tunic top, you know, that's flowing. I think for Zoom, it's really important to have some color, and also make sure that your lighting is correct. You know, when you're setting up your office setup. Another thing that's really important for looking and feeling good is like Krista has with the camera straight on your face. So you can do that by having an external camera at the top of your laptop or having a laptop set up, you know, so that it's like way past time for everyone to be looking at your nose hairs, you know, like we don't need that. But I think, you know, things that make you feel good, so that in between space between the suit and the workout clothes is, you know, comfortable blouses that have some flow, jeans, if those are comfortable for you, leggings, you know, you can do things like a stretched trouser if you don't want to actually be in leggings, if that feels too, because I do feel like there's something to be said for properly dressing as opposed to being super comfortable in terms of creating boundaries in your workday. And I'm sure you have thoughts about this, Krista.
I love this. I'm chuckling because I chronically work from home, obviously. And
right.
I like my workout clothes because I sometimes, it depends on the day. Sometimes I work out in the afternoon. It really depends. But whenever I am doing a presentation, or even when I have my calls, just to like have some makeup on, my earrings, like I do have leggings on, but a cute little blouse, for me, it does make a difference. So I am guilty of doing the workout clothes, but
No. I'm not trying to create guilt. Like I mean, I think that there are days when I know I'm going to have a flat out day, and if I don't wear my workout clothes, I'm not going to work out. So I totally get that. I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that on the regular, you know, if for you it makes a big difference to get dressed. Now, there are some people who are totally in their element and they can wear, and their workout clothes are their power pieces. That's also, you know, that's also like, you can own that. That's okay. But I think the important piece is to figure out what makes you look and feel good. And so that instead of running from thing to thing, you're in control of the things. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I do notice a difference when I'm a little bit more put together. I feel a little bit more professional. But
Yeah.
to your point also, I have one of my girlfriends she used to work at Lululemon, so she has the cutest workout clothes. She loves to put on a cute workout outfit. And she works in the fitness industry. She does accounting for fitness organizations. So it makes more sense. So I love what you're saying is it's not workout clothes. It's do that. How do they make you feel?
Right.
Love that. I think that's excellent advice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Jessica said, love it. Thank you. Lisa also said, thank you. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn on my camera. Like, hi. It resonates with me a lot, the thing about, like changing clothes for work. I did it much more at the beginning of the pandemic. Like I really was like putting a lot of work on it. And now I fell into like a rut, and then I'm trying to like go back to like dressing up for work.
Yeah.
But one thing that struck me, I think like a couple of months, like before the pandemic, I was like starting to change my closet a little bit because I went from grad student to like full-time work and a very like dressed up environment. One thing that I noticed that sometimes gets in the way is not that much about identifying the type of clothes that I like or like the image that I want to project, but it's more about my perfectionism about it. So the pants don't fit the right way, or like, oh, they are slightly longer because I'm petite and stuff like that. And so I was wondering if you had any suggestions on how to deal with that aspect of the way that, we might over criticize ourselves when we are trying to embody that image.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an important observation that you make. And at the same time, I want to say that I think in this particular situation, it does make sense. Fit is extremely important. And so spending the time and energy on finding trousers that really fit you well and getting them tailored or tailoring themselves so that they have the right hem length, I think that is an appropriate place to spend time and energy. And I think for a lot of women, they get frustrated because that takes time and energy. But at the same time, once you identify your brands, for the majority of the time, then you can go back to that brand. I buy the same brand of jeans. I've been wearing the same brand of jeans for the last 10 years. I wear Not Your Daughter's jeans. They fit me really well. They're super flattering. They're not too crazy expensive. They're not cheap, so they don't fall apart in a nanosecond. And I love them. Now, you do get into problems sometimes where you identify a brand and a fit that really works for you, and then the brand changes the fit, and that is super annoying, and I totally get that. But you have to understand from the retail industry's perspective, what they are trying to do is find pants or create items that fit you. And because women's bodies are so varied and we're no longer in a couture environment, or people aren't making their clothes anymore, they do have fit models and they do make their best guess, based on the data that they have. So it's okay to buy. I would rather you buy a pair of trousers that are less expensive and spend the money at the tailor if you don't know how to tailor them yourselves. And I certainly don't. I take them to the tailor. Even, obviously in pandemic times, you don't want to be getting too many contacts. So I haven't been to the tailor, I will admit. But in normal life, and if you want to make like one trip to the tailor, I think it's much more important to spend your money on fit than it is to spend your money on a name brand, for example. Does that help?
Yes, I have one follow-up question
Sure.
about that, which is I have been getting into the habit of sort of like collecting the tags so that I can identify the brand and the size.
Smart.
But in some cases, especially now with the pandemic situation, like if you want to buy online, it's kind of like a little bit of guessing if you haven't already bought something in that that brand. So do you have any suggestions of like how to navigate that sort of like uncertainty?
Yeah, 100%. So, you know, not being able to see your body and know what your body type is, I mean, that will give you a lot of information. But just in terms of a coping mechanism, if you're not sure, I always recommend just order 2 sizes and then return them quickly. You know, whichever size doesn't fit you right, return it. And that way you give yourself the best proximate to being in the dressing room. And at the same time, because all the sizes and colors are available online versus in the store, you actually give yourself a little bit more variety. The only problem with that is it's not great for the environment. So I really recommend, you know, try to do a bigger shop every season rather than buying a lot throughout the season, because that just cuts down on the waste.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I thought great points there. I know with myself finding the right fit, I'm, for anyone, I don't know, maybe you have my problem. I'm a big fan of the curvy American Eagle jeans because my waist to hip and tush ratio is like, I think it's like they have like a 13-inch versus typically it's a 10-inch difference. So if anyone has that problem, American Eagle curvy fit.
Good intel.
Yes.
Good intel. I'm writing that down.
Yes, I am obsessed. The shorts, the jeans, and yeah, like, do you see the joy? Like when you find something that fits you right?
Yes.
Like I know what my size is there, so I'll put that. Yeah.
Yeah, and brands literally have a fit model. They literally have a dress form that they use to create their garments, and then they extrapolate up or down based on size. So Analia says, I love curvy from Loft. Yeah, that's awesome also.
So thank you so much, Allison. I think everyone else can see why I invited you to come speak to us. You are just fabulous. You have so much wisdom, and I love the approach. Whenever I hear you, I feel so inspired and like I'm just excited to think about personal style in just such a different way. And I know you mentioned the call.
Yes.
We also have a special gift, a special discount code for the group.
Yes.
How to stay in touch with you and your the special offerings and all of that information.
Yeah, 100%. So okay, first let me put the free call in the chat. So you can book that. My calendar is open through December. So okay, bye. Yeah, and I think Krista, you can also include this in the follow-up email with the recording, right?
Yes, I will be with, yeah.
Okay, and then I have my master class, which I'm enrolling for. It actually starts this weekend. So I want to put that in the chat as well. Sorry, I just wanted to go out and get it. So here's the URL for that. And because it's so late, I wanted to give everyone a really amazing discount. I hardly ever do this. So it's going to be 20% off. And that's with the code CD, code CD. And so if you go to that URL and you take a look at it, this is a 3-month program. It's asynchronous learning, so there are videos and program emails, but you also get my expertise. So what you're paying for is me doing the reading. So all of those elements, your body type, your color, all of those things, we create a private HTML page that's specifically for you and takes you through and documents the entire process. So it's all of that information about what flatters you, your core values, creating your color story and your style language. Then you go through the process of creating your personal style using Pinterest. I'll give you feedback on that personal style that you've created. Then I give you all my tips and tricks for personal shopping. You can get feedback on the outfits that you choose. And then we also do personal styling and how to go from head to toe to make sure that that look is really on point. So it's a timed, high accountability program where you get this personal style passport to walk away with all of your information, creating your personal style with the outfits to match, and my feedback all along the way. So I'm going to be holding your hand the entire process. So, oh, sorry, Krista, I thought you were going to say something.
That is wonderful. Sorry. Oh no, the Zoom got a little skippy for a second. I think that's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, did you have something else to add? Sorry.
No. I thought you were going to say something, but I think maybe you froze.
I'm back. It was the internet. I just wanted to say thank you so much. These are such wonderful gifts to offer us. I highly recommend checking out the masterclass and also, a free 30-minute call with you. That is incredibly generous. So thank you so much. I am going to be putting this information as well in a post in the Facebook group, and it will also be in my newsletter tomorrow. So
awesome.
Yeah. For those of you who they hopped off, everyone will have access to this as well as the replay link. So if you missed anything, you can scroll back and watch it from the beginning.
Awesome. So, I would love to have anyone in your community in my community. That would be amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison.
My pleasure.
Fun having you. This was like the best lunch I've had in a long time.
Aww. Well, I think we have to have lunch more often then, Krista.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you all of you who joined. I look forward to being in touch with all of you. And with that, I will see you all soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone.